My argumentative audio is over the dangerous effects of vaping. So, vaping was originally invented by Herbert Gilbert in the early 1960s as an alternative to cigarette smoking. His solution for this was to just take out the nicotine. It was just an e-cigarette essentially at this point. A little bit after that, in 1963, the Surgeon General Luther Terry released a document outlining the harmful effects of cigarette smoking. This caused vaping to start its trend upward even as early as the 60s. Vaping really didn't start hitting until much later, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s, but it does have its roots as early as the 1960s. And then in the 1990s, that's when people started figuring out that you can vape marijuana, and this created its own set of issues and consequences. Because of its taste and efficiency, tobacco vaping is being seen as a way to go straight to nicotine abuse while skipping the cigarette addiction altogether. Cigarette smoking has significantly decreased due to the emergence of vapes and new laws banning cigarette smoke. Cigarettes are also being seen in a negative light. 80 years ago, cigarette smoking was culturally accepted and even considered cool. In the present day, vaping tobacco has its own culture that is often separate from cigarette smoking. I thought this was really interesting because cigarettes are being seen as not cool. They used to be seen, in the um, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s as cool. Like I keep saying, all the cool kids did it, but now it is not, especially due to these laws that have been banning it. More young people are vaping rather than smoking, which is increasing its popularity. Many people are seeing the long-term effects of vaping marijuana as well, with it still being illegal in many states. Um, Marijuana is not very well regulated, and people are buying it in off the black market essentially. Vaping tobacco has actually been proven to be more harmful than smoking traditional cigarettes. In cigarettes, when the chemicals in tobacco are heated, most notably propylene glycol and formaldehyde, those chemicals are released in small quantities. In vapes, they are heated to a much higher temperature, and more of those chemicals are released, making them much more harmful than traditional cigarettes. The chemicals used for flavoring for vapes as well have their own issues. Um, Another issue no one really talks about too is the manufacturing of vapes. Since that is not well regulated, they can have flaws, and there is a lack of consistency across the board when building them. One of the biggest issues can be the appropriate temperature at which the coils are heated. This can cause burns and other issues. Next is protecting children and adolescents against the risks of smoking. While most youths are moving away from using substances, vaping has become very prevalent. In the past 6 years, 36% of adolescents aged 15 to 19 years reported having tried vaping at some point, with 15% having vaped in the previous 30 days. This is nearly 5 times more than among adults aged 25 years and older. Um, it is more of a younger person's um, substance at this point. You do not see too many older adults using them. That does not make them any more or any less harmful, though. While vapes had originally appeared to be low risk compared to cigarettes, it has been found to be quite the opposite. They mainly contain flavored juices containing nicotine. When heated, they create an aerosol that is then inhaled. Some contain marijuana or cannabis, which is usually a higher amount of THC that is concentrated. Young people who vape or around those who vape are vulnerable to the chemicals they contain, which can be carcinogenic. Inhaling vapes can cause long-term issues to the lungs or even heart in some cases. Ingesting that much nicotine or THC can harm brain development as well. This is particularly big in people under 25 and younger, as our brains are still developing at that point, and ingesting this nicotine or THC can stunt it to some degree. Parents should monitor their children for vapes, not only for health issues they can cause, but also the behavioral issues that can arise. Nicotine can cause a dependency, as we all know, and children can go through withdrawals at a very young age, and this can cause them to act out almost just about as bad as it can happen to adults. Next is burn injuries caused by e-cigarette explosions, a systematic review of published cases. This article in particular goes over another thing that isn't talked about too much, and that is, as it says, the explosion of vapes. We don't think about it as much. We think about the chemicals and the cancers that vapes can cause, but we don't really talk about them exploding on people. As vapes have been growing in popularity in the recent decade, in 2015, 24% of high schoolers have used a vape in the past month. While most health concerns are regarding the chemicals in vapes, explosions from vapes are also an issue. This is usually caused by the battery overheating, also known as thermal runaway. This is also why devices with lithium-ion batteries explode like phones or laptops. Most injuries from these explosions happen in the face or upper thigh. Of the cases studied, the most injured demographic is males between the ages of 20 to 39. Most explosions happen in the pocket, as the batteries can easily overheat there due to our body heat and the pocket just keeping everything warm, especially in states like Texas where it can get very hot. I'm sure we've all seen our phones start to overheat, and this can happen with vapes just as easily. Due to that location, the thighs are by far the most damaged area. About 76% of injuries happen there. Burn severity was typically second degree and a combination of second degree and third degree burns. This shows that these burns are severe and can have life-altering effects. While we mostly think about the burn shrapnel from the vapes exploding can cause significant damage as well. To limit these injuries, vape manufacturers need to create safeguards such as protecting from overheating or having pressure relief valves. Another way to help is for vapes to be better regulated. Warning labels for not only the chemicals in the vapes, but the risk of explosions can help enormously. So these three articles review papers, do highlight, I would say, three of the biggest issues. A, just ingesting that kind of aerosol and chemicals into your body. B, its effect on teenagers. This can cause, just like previous generations, while they had cigarettes, this generation now has vapes, and those effects, long-term health effects, can be just as devastating as these cigarettes were, and then the explosions as well. I'm sure it can be traumatizing for anyone to take a puff of their vape and it explode, or it be in the pocket and explode, or in a vehicle. This is why vapes are also banned from airports due to the explosion. Something that I noticed in all three of those, there weren't too many solutions to address these issues. The final review paper did offer some, but nothing really concrete. I think warning labels can help. Maybe articles for parents on how to better inform themselves and their children on the dangers of these. And then continue precautionary regulations, just like the airplane one, having vapes, the nicotine juices, even the THC in the legal states, be better well regulated, so we as a society can better monitor these issues.